welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
Let's kind of look at we've seen Robbie Anderson traded. That
Mm-hmm.
happened Monday. Uh, I do not believe that is the last of the trades. I think we could see some other players traded. I think we could see some other players traded before Sunday, honestly. So Jerry and I are going to kind of look at the roster and talk about possible guys that could be traded, what we think the compensation should be, or what the Panthers should be looking for, and maybe where they could fit. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, before we get started to other players, let's talk about CMC. Let's talk about Christian
mm,
McCaffrey. I am fully do not want to trade him. I think getting rid of a playmaker like that and still eating cap space, unless it's like a really sweet deal, I don't think. And according to rumors, is they've asked for 2 first round picks for him. Obviously, that's a starting negotiation plat,
right.
but a first and a fourth or something like that, I could see them maybe doing it.
Yeah, I think I would say that any news that has come out saying that the Panthers either aren't interested in drafting these particular players, or the conversation starts at two number ones or whatever. I wouldn't take any of that with more than a grain of salt. It's all negotiating.
Oh yeah. That's what I
Fitterer has
said.
already said he's taking every single call that comes in, regardless of who the player is. And why wouldn't you? Honestly, take the call. Yeah, even if
Yeah,
it's for Brian Burns, take the call, because somebody might offer you 3 first-round picks
yeah.
or something just ridiculous. I think you have to take the call. But yeah, with CMC, I can't imagine 2 first-round draft picks. If they
No,
got
no.
that offer, I think they have to take it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to think too. Even if we trade him, we're still on the hook for 11, $12 million for the next couple of
Mm.
years for him. So it's not like we're getting this big cap savings. We are getting some,
Yeah.
but and here's my question for those who are like, oh, trade him for a second or third round pick. Who are you going to draft that's going to replace Christian McCaffrey's production
Yeah.
in that with that? Look at what we pick in the second round. Terrace Marshall Jr.
Yeah.
We traded a second plus for Sam the Garbage Darnold. I mean, this is what we're doing with the second round picks. And you want to trade away the offense right now for that?
Yeah, the guy that had 75% of the total offense last week. Yeah, and I like that, Jerry, where if you're going to trade a guy like Christian McCaffrey, like Brian Burns, like Derek Brown, like Jeremy Chin, you have to think about, okay, I'm getting a first-round pick for these guys. I'm getting a second, a third, a fourth-round pick for these guys. What am I getting with that pick
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be equivalent to what I'm giving up? And with McCaffrey, I 100% agree. I think if you're not getting a first, and I'm not talking like the 29th pick, I'm talking like, a mid-teens pick, really, uh, or a first, a second plus, then I don't think you should do it. I
No.
think you have to get full value for anybody that you trade if you're the Panthers. There's no point, we've talked about this before. There's no point in having the fire sale, right? Where you're giving guys away on 50 cents on the dollar. That doesn't make any sense. I understand the thought of trading some of these guys that have high value if you want to do a full rebuild, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's up to Tepper and that's up to Fitterer if that's the direction they want to go. And I think we're going to see over the next couple of weeks if that's the direction that they're choosing to go, because we'll see some of these trades. But
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I don't think we have a good solid young core. That
Mm-hmm.
that's that's the biggest problem I have with doing a whole rebuild. And I really like this roster. Yes, there's pieces that need to be done. Quarterback being point one, two, three, and four.
Yeah.
But the revamped offensive line looks solid. You got Icky over there on the left tackle. Taylor Moton struggled a little bit this year, but
Mm-hmm.
Austin Corbett's looking really good, and you got him for a couple years.
I mean, Moten, I
For
think, is a good player, and I think his struggles that he's having now are temporary. I
yeah,
think
I
you got to give
again,
him
I'm
that.
not trying to trade him away.
Yeah.
I just said
Right.
that type of situation. But I wouldn't want just the Bills' first round pick for Christian McCaffrey because you're looking at the 29th to 32nd
Mm-hmm.
pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And look at the drafts previous. Look at those late round, first round picks. They don't typically pan out. Or if they pan out, they're solid starters.
But it's
They're
like, yeah, it's like if you're
not,
looking at that late in the first round, there's as good a chance of a late first round pick booming as there is a mid second round pick or a early third round
yeah,
pick booming. Like they're all kind of the same opportunity of being a superstar. Christian McCaffrey is a superstar.
yeah.
He is one of the rare superstars that the Panthers have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna give him up, I mean, if like let's talk the Bills because that seems like the destination, right?
The Bills, the Chiefs, and the Rams, I hear, are
I think the Chiefs,
always
well, the Chiefs have a pretty good running game right now, and the Rams don't have any picks to trade. So I
well,
I don't think the Rams make any sense from
well,
a
they have
Panthers
picks in the
perspective.
future because they always like
I
are
don't think they
willing.
have anything until like 2026, a first
That
round
wouldn't
pick until
surprise
like
me, but I don't know.
2026. Yeah, I think that's the case. I mean, they have Cam Akers. They could throw Cam Akers in a trade. Do you want Cam Akers
No,
for Christian McCaffrey? Like Cam Akers and a couple of second round picks? I don't think that gets it done. Um, so I think it's the Bills, and I think it has to be like a first, a second, a fourth, and maybe a player.
yeah, I
If
don't
that's
know.
the direction you're doing.
Yeah, I don't see the Bills doing that. That's a lot.
I,
I mean,
I think I think
but
it's a lot, but I think it's I think that's the value.
I
If
was
it
gonna
was
say,
me, that's what I would want.
but if you put CMC on that offense with
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen being, because Josh Allen's their leading rusher,
Yeah,
you we saw what happened to Cam Newton getting those hits
right.
constantly. So
They could, I think they could honestly maybe like overpay a little bit for Christian McCaffrey for that exact reason. Take those hits off of Josh Allen, you know, throw us back James Cook, throw us back a first, a second, some other mid round pick. I mean, again, I don't want to see Christian McCaffrey go, but if he goes, then that's the type of return I would want.
yeah, let's move on. Because everybody's talking
Yeah.
about Christian McCaffrey. I'm avoiding any. I think DJ Moore, Brian Burns, uh, J.C. Horn, Derek Brown, those guys are not untouchable, but like you said, they need to back up a Brinks truck. So I don't even want to really bring them out.
Well, I do want to talk Burns because he's coming up on his contract year.
Hmm.
He may want to be traded. He may look at this team and say, where is this team going? Like, especially if they trade CMC or if they trade a couple other big names. I would not be surprised, and I wouldn't really even fault Brian Burns for saying, I don't think I'm going to want to sign here long term.
Well,
He's coming up. They're going to have to pay him. They currently don't really have any cap space next year to give him an extension.
yeah, they can. You know, the
I mean,
contracts are all
they
fake.
can make it work. They can make it work. But
I no longer believe in
I
the
finally
salary
converted
cap.
you. um, but I could see. I mean, I don't want it to happen. And if it does happen, then it needs to be. I think it needs to be multiple first round picks for Brian Burns. He's one of the premier young pass rushers in the NFL.
Yep.
And he is still on that rookie deal. Again, he's coming up for an
And you
extension.
could tag him twice. That's
Right.
the thing that I expect if he doesn't want to sign here and be like, okay, well, you're gonna get tagged twice. Sorry.
Yeah, but do you want a guy that doesn't want to be here?
Yes.
Especially if he's like publicly asking what guys
Well,
publicly ask for
I don't
trades.
see him publicly asking for a trade.
You don't
I
think
don't
hype man Lucci might be out there going, man, my boy Brian, he's ready to get out of here, man. He does not want to be here anymore.
I don't I don't. I think he likes it here. I really do. I think
I
he
think
hates.
you really like him, and you are desperately hoping that that's the case.
Well, no, I read a lot of hype man
Yeah,
Loki's or tweets and stuff like that, and he kind of was like, "Hey, quit putting stuff out there that's not true. That's not what
yeah.
he's saying." So
Well, hey, I hope that's the case. I do agree with you. And JC Horn's going nowhere. Um, Chin, I don't think they'd trade Chin. He's still got a couple of years left. However, Shaq Thompson, I think, is a real possibility.
Shaq is my not my golden boy, but he's my guy that I easily see targeted as a trade prospect because he's 28 years old. He's got a pretty hefty contract that the Panthers would have to eat the bonus, but it does lighten up next year. It would get like 15 million off the cap
Mm-hmm.
next year. And honestly, I don't know if he is gonna be here much
Mm-hmm.
longer. Like it just again, he's reaching 30 years old. He could go to a team that needs some linebacking help. Plus, he hasn't been tackling that well this year either. So I would
Yeah,
let
I'm pulling his contract up right now. Do you have it in front of you?
I have it in front of me.
Okay.
Right now, he is $13 million against cap hit. If we cut him, it would be 22, but we're not going to do that. We're going to trade him. So we're looking at, and next year we'd have 11 million, I think, a dead cap against it for him. But
But
we
his
had
cap hit's 24, so
free up 13 mil.
savings of 13. Yeah. Yeah, I could easily see that. What do you think that they could expect from Shaq Thompson's trade? I mean, third round pick, fourth round pick.
I would say probably a third.
Yeah. I don't, I mean, I think his deal is a little prohibitive because he's being paid like a top 10 linebacker, top five linebacker almost. And I don't know that he is.
No, yeah, you're right. And again, next year they're going to be paying 13 million,
Mm-hmm.
which is not bad for a starting linebacker.
Right. Yeah. His cap hit's 24 next year, though.
Yeah, but we'd be paying 11 of that on
Right.
the
Right.
bonus.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Right.
they would be so
Man, these contracts are so weird. But they're weird because this is what we're talking about with the cap being a myth. It's only a myth until you start trying to get rid of these guys that you've pushed these contracts back so far on. You've restructured and restructured and restructured and restructured, and all of a sudden, if you trade them, you're on the hook for, you know, 12,
mhm.
15, $20 million, and the guys aren't on the team, right?
Yep.
So that's the downside. So you really only want to push these contracts back of guys that are going to be here for a while.
Mhm.
And I don't, and again, his contract is 13 million for Shaq Thompson. That's pretty reasonable, I think.
Yeah, I do too. And he's got veteran experience, starter, fringe Pro Bowl type of player. I could see he hasn't played it like this year, but
Yeah.
I could see a team that's trying to make a push who needs linebacking help coming in,
Mm-hmm.
giving us something for him.
Yeah. There's and what I was saying before, like the cap hit of 25 million, that's a little much. And if he stays, I see them restructuring this yet again, or
Oh
giving
yeah.
him as an extension, 2, 3 year extension, and spreading that money out some. So it'll be interesting to see. But
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say another person you brought up to me in our text chain that I didn't even think about, but absolutely should be a target for other teams. Left tackle Cam Irving or swing
Mm-hmm.
tackle Cam Irving. He's 1 year left on his deal. I believe it's $5 million. Linemen are hard to find. I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in Cam Irving, but he has starting.
Experience.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm also fighting a cold right now.
Oh yeah.
Starting experience, and he plays all right, especially if you need a guy who can maybe play left or right tackle, depending on your situation. And again, those playoff push teams, I could see them dealing him for like a fifth round pick.
Yeah. I think that's probably the right price, fifth or sixth round pick for him. And yeah, he's not playing,
No,
obviously. Luckily Icky. And even if Icky goes down, I don't want to see Cam Irving out there.
I think you kick Brady Christensen to the left
Yeah. Yeah.
tackle and
Put Michael Jordan or whoever in there at left
Pat
guard.
Elflein at left guard because they absolutely love him for some reason.
Oh, I heard Elfline was dealing with an injury. We might see Bozeman this week.
There we go.
Yeah.
Another guy I was thinking maybe Bozeman gets traded because he's only on that 1 year deal.
Hard to trade guys on the. Well, yeah, yeah, you're right.
One, 1 year
Um,
deal. If a guy goes down and they need him, yeah.
yeah. One other guy that I just kind of wanted to mention that I saw kind of talked about out there is Xavier Woods, safety. He's on a 3-year deal, but it's very, very reasonable 3-year deal. He's like the 15th highest paid safety in the league. He's having a decent year. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
actually been made some pretty big plays. Um, I think he'd have value. Again, I think you're probably looking fourth, fifth round pick type of return for him. Um, he has an out in his contract after this year that you could cut him with only about $3.5 million dead cap.
But why would you
So
do that when he's playing so well?
right,
He played better than Jeremy Chin when
I'm just
Jeremy Chin
saying
was in there.
they're gonna have to make moves to get under the cap next year because they are 30 million over the cap, around 30 million over the cap next year. He could be a cap casualty, just to save that $3 million. If they draft a safety or who knows what could happen next year. But yeah, Xavier was another guy I'd keep an eye on, um, and I think kind of a mid-round pick would be his price.
Yeah.
All
I
right. Anybody
I
else
don't
you kind
know.
of wanted to talk about?
No, not
Kind
really.
of
I mean,
looking here. Luvu, definitely not.
yeah, I think Luvu is gonna get an extension or something as soon as he can.
Yetur,
I could see Etor.
he's been very disappointing. I could see, if another team says, "Hey, we'll give you a fourth round pick for Yetur. We think that we can make it work with him here."
Yeah,
I could
that
see the Panthers doing that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Offensively, I don't know that there's really anybody else.
I could see them moving a quarterback if needed. One of
Yeah,
the
but
Darnold or
who's
Baker.
gonna want them?
If someone offered you a 6 round pick for Sam Darnold, do you think he would stick around? Because I don't. I think they would move on.
I mean, if someone offered a 6th round pick for Sam Darnold, I would be thrilled. I'd be joyous. I
Yeah.
wouldn't believe it. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess if that happens, I
I
don't think
mean,
anybody's
you're
going.
talking about if a quarterback goes down, like
Yeah,
say hypothetically Dallas that Dak doesn't come back, something's wrong with his thumb, Cooper Rush goes down, something like
yeah,
that type of scenario.
yeah. I guess I could see that. Um, Ian Thomas, what do you think his value is?
No one's traded for that contract for him.
Box of chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any offensive linemen. I could see like Higgins. I could definitely see him as a guy that could get traded
yeah,
for a late pick, sixth, 7th round pick, something like that, just to let him play somewhere.
yeah.
Uh,
You got to think too. He's kind of sitting behind Chenault, TMJ, Shy Smith, and you got to think they're gonna want the younger guys playing right now, anyways.
yeah, yeah, I would agree. I do hope we see some Chenault this week. I mean, I hope he's healthy. Number one,
Supposedly that he is gonna be out there this week.
good. I hope
Hopefully.
so.
I mean, you know how hamstrings work. I mean, they always come and
I
go.
have I have no idea how hamstrings work. I'm not a medical doctor, Jerry.
You just play one on
I
TV.
just play one. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Could they trade Hecker?
No, why would they do something stupid like that?
That's right. He is the MVP of the team. What's his deal? I wonder. All right.
I'm on there. Hold on, give me a second.
3-year deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade him. But all
I
right,
wouldn't trade him either. But what if someone offered you like a 4th round pick for him?
that'd be difficult.
Be hard to say no to, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jerry, I think that's gonna do it.
All right, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
Everybody, stay safe out there and keep pounding.